Well, good afternoon. It's the day before Earth Day. Carolyn had career day today. She went as a scientist. Made my heart proud. Of course, it was between that and ballerina, and the only reason she didn't go to ballerina is because it's really kind of ugly today. It was going to be really wet or cold, so we opted for scientist. She put on a pair of goggles, took a little plastic beaker from her chemistry kit, her making crystals kit, threw on a dress shirt of mine, and went as a lab technician, which I thought was too cute. So it's the day before Earth Day, and what that means generally is all the poo-pooing about the Earth will start tomorrow. Or more accurately, probably about midnight tonight. All those people who, they're the ones who on Earth Hour, instead of turning off things to recognize the impact that we have on the Earth, instead decided to turn everything they possibly could on just to show that it wouldn't really make a difference, and they were trying to offset everybody else. Yeah, geniuses. The whole thing there is Earth Hour isn't about the hour. It's about recognizing that we are doing things that don't make sense. We are using up fossil fuels that are changing climate, that we are using up unrenewable resources when there are other options. And so the whole idea is to get you to think about those things. But of course, these folks don't want to think about these things. They want to continue to spend the future on their own. And it makes me a little crazy because the science is not unclear. There are thousands of scientists that all back this information. In fact, the consensus has gotten stronger and stronger that the human race has done a lot of damage to the Earth. And if we don't find a way to curb what we are doing, we are going to continue to damage the Earth to the point where we're going to harm ourselves. In that sense, the Earth is self-regulating. In that, at some point, we are going to destroy enough things that we begin to destroy ourselves. I get perturbed. A buddy of mine, and he said it as a joke, but I understand that, but only halfway is a joke. About the fact that it's very cold where he is. It was actually snowing, in mid-April. So much for global warming. I really dislike the phrase global warming. Because the fact is, global warming isn't what it's about. It's global climate change. Now, is there a warming of the Earth? Yes. It's documented. Over the last 100 years, it has increased exponentially compared to all other recorded history. And we can go back quite a ways. We can determine it through a number of different methods scientifically. We can see when the Earth is cooled. We can see when the Earth was warmed. And the issue is not that it is warming, because it has warmed beyond where we are now in the past. It's that it is doing so at a rate far beyond what has ever happened before, short of a cataclysmic event. Things move on a glacial, monolithic scale normally. But that's not what we're seeing now. We're seeing a highly rapid rate of change. And it's due to the fact that we are putting things into the atmosphere that are going to continue to warm the Earth. The reason it's global climate change rather than global warming, and why I believe that's the proper way to talk about it, is it's not just about things being warmer. In the summer, they will be. There will be more drought in the areas that get drought. But in the winter, there will be more snow in the places that get snow. Why? Global warming melts the ice caps. It increases sea level. The oceans rise when the ice caps melt. More ocean, less ice cap. There is more surface evaporation. That puts more moisture into the air. More moisture where it's cold means more snow. More moisture where it is warm can mean stronger storms, hurricanes, for example. It's not that the warming means everything gets warmer. It means that we go to more extremes. When it's cold, it's colder. When it's warm, it's warmer. But another part of that is that the bottom of the cycle doesn't go as low on average. The planet warms and cools, but it usually does it within a certain range with obvious variation. The problem is that for the last 50 years, that range has continued to go up. The higher ends get higher, the lower ends get higher. The variation, it's about the same amount of variation, but in a totally different range. Which means the ice caps don't get to cool as much. They don't get to freeze over as they used to. Which means there's less polar ice cap, more moisture, more severe weather. And that's just a tip of the iceberg. So I've got people telling me, well, you know, over the last 10 years it hasn't. Well, technically the 2000 to 2009 was the warmest decade on record. The last few years have dipped a little. Guess what? In the 80s they dipped a lot. I'm sorry, in the 90s they dipped a lot. And yet we are far beyond where they were in the 90s. That's part of an average cycle. But when you point out that the 10 years really don't mean anything on the long course, well, then 100 years don't really mean anything on the long course. It's kind of like they want to have things either way. They want to show you that in the last 10 years, everything's changed and it's not that big a deal. When you point out that 10 years don't make a difference, well, then your numbers don't make a difference either. There's no rationale. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about that 100-year number. It's about the rate of change in 100 years. Yes, things have changed before over millions and millions of years. Things got warmer, things got cooler. Ice ages happen. Warming happens. But it happens over millions of years. It doesn't happen in 100 years. And that's what makes me crazy when these guys want to talk about it. So, that's my pet peeve today. This Earth Day deniers, global climate deniers. The math is there, folks. The science is there. You can ignore it. Doesn't make it go away. Put down what you think. Put it in the comments. I'd like to hear it and have a discussion. Have a great day.